Hello everyone, I'm Mithra. It's update day. We have the Gen Con update. So this is the update that follows Gen Con. Associated with this update will be the Gen Con sale. So I already have videos up on everything that was released at the Gen Con sale. However, there's also no Ledla, which was the Smog drummer, the Indomitable Smog singer resource. That white box will be next month. But maybe the sale will still be up even right now for some, maybe. But everything is up from the Gen Con sale. It was all there. So hopefully you can get your hands on some of the stuff. It was all pretty good. Like I said, the Aya, Survivors of Death 1, Glow, those are all pretty good. So here is the Kickstarter update. You can see there's the artwork here. And we're back. Gen Con was a blast. A big thank you to everyone who came out to visit, talk shop, and check out the newest releases. Gen Con 24 has broken our personal best, which was 2019, and has set a new record for both attendees, item restocks, and even a number of new fans picking up the core game for the first time. Yeah, I had mentioned this. They did really well. I noticed this at Gen Con and everything. There was a lot of core games being sold out, along with Gambler's Chest. It's kind of shocking and continues to be very humbling. Figured in 2019 we had kind of topped out. We were still fresh from the big Kickstarter and had just moved into new content. The energy was high and the booth was slammed. Yet we were faced with even more fans this year. And with 3 entrenched Team Death members on checkout duty, we were able to churn through our line faster than ever. Post-Gen Con sale, this is the one I was just talking about. So there's the Aya and Glow and Survivors of Death. There's also art prints up on the sale, up on the shop for sale. The first time ever seen that. Gen Con 2024, turning to Gen Con this year, was a different experience from last. Even though we had committed to even more convention space and work compared to previous years, things felt a lot calmer, or whatever passes for calm for us this time around. Maybe it would be because we were able to shake off the rust from years of absence last year, or perhaps it was the things had finally begun starting to move again with back-to-back releases of our first new non-20-pound expansions since the first Kickstarter energizing the team. Whatever the case, nerves and anxiety of the unknown were much less prominent this time around, leaving only unending excitement to see all of our fans. Of course, Gen Con is always a large physical commitment, and I found myself doing more heavy lifting than I had ever done in a long time with the addition of our event space. Still, I wanted to give a big thank you to my entire team for doing such an amazing job keeping everything moving and organized. So much experience under our collective belts. Everyone was moving like a well-oiled machine, and I'm confident things will only continue to get smoother next year. So, I've done videos on everything I experienced when I was at Gen Con. I had the interviews and stuff, sim interviews, but the Pariah interview shows a lot of the stuff that was happening just at the booth in general. So here's just some images of the booth, all kinds of stuff. So even with all these years, I am still beyond honored by the absolute outpouring of love we receive every Thursday morning as our fans flow into the booth like a tidal wave. So gifts. This was painted by Nightmare Edward. Was originally a birthday gift from Anna, who was sort of getting me back from gifting her the Gourmet Hunter Anna. Being gifted a painted version of the character felt somewhat like a completion of some dark cycle. So this was painted, masterfully painted techniques on display. Who painted this one? Same fan. Oh, this was one that was painted by... Doesn't say. Wait. Generously gifted team's tastemaker with a painted pin-up butcher. Stuck it out of the display case for a tastemaker had placed it in to snap this photo. So those two were both painted. Lantern gifted a tiny lantern. This was, he showed off in my interview as well. This was a very neat lantern. So very cool. He personally thanked the person in my video. There was the lore video. So this is interesting. This is retailer interest, Many retailers visited us, expressing interest in carrying Kingdom Death in their stores, and I chatted with a few distributors or two. The distribution model has never made sense to us as our game is huge, heavy, and expensive. But going directly to the store as well, that I think has potential. What I'm realizing though is that we would need to actually support it. We barely know how to sell Kingdom Death. Our current plans have just been to make the coolest thing we can, and it seems to have worked out so far. So how would someone else go about selling it in their store? So yeah, this is interesting. I don't know what exactly these conversations included, but I would assume it would probably be core games and expansions, things that they could, relatively get in bulk. White boxes and stuff, maybe, but it would be hard. I could see what he's talking about. It would be definitely hard to do monthly stuff, but maybe. We need to see them in stores. Don't know exactly what kind of stores, but growth and influx of new fans. Touch on this a little. It would be interesting to make a full post-mortem when we finish the odyssey that is this Kickstarter, but for now I just want to flirt with the part of it. It is a dangerous affair that is rapid growth of how it can affect quality. So, let's go down. Summarize what knowledge he came home with after going to Gen Con. Sorry, I'm gonna summarize a lot of this stuff, but first, it's to accept that we are a lifestyle game and build support for that. Create videos to help new players, specifically how to use and organize KDM content, which is, yeah, it's true. Try to have fun with social media, use it in a way to enrich and be informative while being entertaining, and look towards partnerships and collaborations now. So as we are finishing this Kickstarter, we have loads of surprises ready to cheer us across the finish line. So these are the types of things that we may see in the future. So, except that we are a lifestyle game and build support for that. This is interesting. I don't know what that would look like, because basically that's already what we're getting. I mean, if you think about it, just sometimes when, there's one of the most common questions you always get is I just bought the core game. What should I buy next? Something like that. And then it's always well, you should just get Gambler's Chest because that's the best value proposition for the money. And then after that, let's talk 2 years from now, right? Then it's there's already so many caveats that will be embedded into the game 2 years from now. So 2 years from now, let's say we get the next wave, which would be Red Witch's Pariah, Screaming God, and then also we get Campaigns of Death and a bunch of Wanderers after that. Then whatever's supposed to also come with Campaigns of Death. Whatever. We'll just say once Campaigns of Death comes out, there's already at what point do you not add caveats to things? Where it's well, the core. If you want to get the core game, then you can get Gambler's Chest because then you'll have the Scouts and you'll have Philosophies and you'll have Croc. You'll have all these other things. Then you'll probably want to get Campaigns of Death because then you can actually use the node system. And then, what do you recommend? Old expansions without the Campaigns of Death, Silver City is going to be in the same exact thing. Do you need Campaigns of Death for Lion God? Except that we are a lifestyle game and build support for that. So hopefully, what that means is filling in those gaps where it's not a new player is being suggested huge expansions as a must-buy, even though they're probably the correct purchase, right? I myself am guilty of suggesting people just buy Gambler's Chest because it's the best value proposition, and I could probably see myself not really suggesting people get older expansions without Campaigns of Death, but do you recommend Campaigns of Death without Gambler's Chest? So, this game's already a lifestyle game, so it's good to see that they're going to start accepting that, so that's really cool. General excitement seems to be brewing. Once again, this demand to grow feels like it's beating on our doors. This time, though, we're going to focus on what we know works, which is to say focus on our primary mission, ensuring the Kickstarter projects we have put so much TLC into are finished while continuing to meet the high standard of quality we have set for ourselves. So, there you go. Gen Con Painting Awards. Here we go. fans are some of the most talented painters out there, and I think the Gen Con painting contest agrees. Congratulations to everyone who submitted a King of Death piece to the painting awards this year, and a big thank you to our volunteer of death, Mumford this time, for helping to compile the following gallery of entries. So these, not all these have people associated with them, but all these things are great. So Summer Goth and Murder painted by Mumford. So this is the why am I drawing a blank on this? Sparrow King. Sparrow Goblin, what says it? By Meisters Dellers. This is Pariah Bust and Atnis by New Meta Design. Very cool. Those are PhD, all three of these, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Dark Soldier Death High Senior Alistair and Butcher Butch by PhD. Sherman Tank, right? Is that, yeah, Sherman Tank for this. Very neat. This one, the diorama piece was pretty cool. This is Cat Night, or Cat Eater Night, My Little Hot Dog. These 3, 4 here. Oh, 5, 6. Wow, these all painted by the same person. Wow. Yeah, 7. And a wealth of other entries that couldn't quite find attributions for, or submitted anonymously by Team Death. If you see your image here, let us know via support, and we'll give you a shout out in our next community newsletter. Team even got in on the painting action with a few of us submitting entries as well. We recently started a weekly painting session in the office to build upon our shared passion for the hobby and get some first-hand knowledge in order to further improve the painting experience of our models, so there may even be more entries from us next year. Very neat. So this was, yes. So this was KDM Sim, new space dedicated to demonstrations of the Kingdom Death Simulator. Was really cool. I made a video on this too. So the sim is really neat. I recently there should be a sim update, I think. It's very soon. But yeah, the sim is really neat stuff. So I've live streamed it and stuff. So I'll be live streaming it again soon. I want to start doing it again. So really cool. Event space was the biggest change we experienced this year was the addition of our official event space. So this was also really cool. I filmed my interviews here. I did a lot of my vlog and stuff here, so there's videos for it. Going into this Gen Con, the event space was definitely our biggest unknown for us. We have never hosted ticketed events in any capacity until now, and we could not easily compare our giant boutique campaign experience with the medium weight drop in and play experiences that normally come to mind when you think of convention events. As we submitted our event documents for the first time, we were even uncertain of if there was any interest in a paid Kingdom Death experience at our convention. One very hectic and fully sold out event schedule later, I can confidently say that the event space was a smash success. Yes, I agree. It was very entertaining. There's the old Black Knight demo from like 2018, I think it was. So it's very cool to see that board come out again. This year we decided 2 types of events: a cinematic showdown with the Black Knight and a custom built 3D thing. And this is the regular showdown board. And 2 rolling settlements of death, where event goers could jump into a couple of lantern years in the ongoing story of a single campaign, facilitated and enhanced by Team Death and our lovely volunteers of Death. So I think I used one of these images as my thumbnail for a video. The event space and the shared imaginative narrative. The shared imaginative narrative. Although all throughout the weekend, the space was filled with players and survivors weaving their own unique tales of triumph and tragedy. I asked the team members in charge of organizing the area if they had any particular favorite moments to share, and they did not disappoint. So one of our valiant fighters dove headlong into ringing a bell altar. Unfortunately, their poor result caused some knockback, and they did not anticipate this occurring. Choosing to activate the altar from a board edge, another one, and suddenly our unfortunate friend tumbled off the citadel. What a shame. I don't think I'll soon forget the fan that bribed me with a can of beer into giving everyone at the showdown a lifetime reroll. This was actually during the Pariah fight. I think I may have cut it out of the video, but that was actually during the Pariah fight, so that was pretty amazing. Faced with a turn 1 instant death, or I mean, it might have happened at other times, but that also happened during the Pariah fight. Faced with a turn 1 instant death, Unscramble the Survivor offered our unlucky player a reroll token for the low price of adding an event trail to the showdown. The table was unamenable to this, and they did not want their comrade to have to sit out the rest of the showdown. Unfortunately, the dice had other plans. 3 event traits later, they survived, scrambled back onto the Citadel tiles, and the team was now facing a much more lethal, angrier Black Knight. Next, we made a contingency plan before the con for what to do if either of the settlements ended up looping back to Lantern Year 1 due to clinging mists, but I actually didn't expect it to happen. Watching the slow realization dawn on the players that the new settlement they had stumbled upon was actually the home of the first hero, and that they would have to triumph over him if they wanted to take over the settlement was a real treat. Yeah, I mentioned this in my vlog video, because when I was playing, we caused Clinging Mist, and we Clinging Mist back, which was great and hilarious. It was my con goal to either punt a rebar or to cause Clinging Mist with a rebar, or like a scout runaway or something. But either way, that was hilarious. And then causing first hero was amazing. I made note of this because when I was showing the display cases, only the female first hero was in there, and I thought the male was probably used for the event or something. So, at the behest of our oversized Kingman statue, the showdown was suddenly enveloped in regal silence. That did not sit well for our players, who immediately agreed to break the suffocating quiet and take a -1 movement token each. Communications were back online, but the impeded monster ended up being quite the punisher. It was much harder to close the distance on the monster or dash away. Yeah, it just sounds like an exaggerated Silent Hymn. Non-ARC campaign's Atnas Showdown was a close call. Some moments included drawing the trap twice with the minimal amount of swordcraft cards and having them all whiff or kill a random survivor in the settlement. Atnas Yearnings giving survivors extra luck, allowing them to critically wound and hit location to make him unable to stand up, and Atnas being able to curb stomp the final survivor only to have them emerge with nothing but a broken tooth. My last event at the convention, I got to do something I've been waiting to do since we realized the Gambler's Chest. The Ark settlement was facing down a god hand for their glorious finale, and our events happened to take place on the Ultimate Showdown board. When it came time for the monster to cleave the Showdown board into pieces, I got to physically remove the parts of the board the god hand had cut away, to the audible gasps of some players who had never faced the monster before. I can only imagine what it was like to fight that God Hand. I think when we reset that Ark Survivor campaign, it was only like Lantern Year 17 or 16 or 17 or something like that. I can't imagine that God Hand fight went well, especially if it was doing things and not just building to transform. So I doubt that went well. A survivor critically wounding a Black Knight location only to receive a hide in return made a certain facilitator take pity on them and allow them to draw an event strange resource in return. Survivor randomly drew the very same razor maggots that would be used to deal the final wound on the Black Knight. What do these razor part with this? When an adjacent monster causes you to suffer a severe injury, you may archive this to shove it in into the monster. The monster suffers 3 wounds as the maggot burrows through its insides before exploding outwards. Interesting. A settlement hero emerges. Beyond the snapshots of single events provided by the team, we also saw another narrative arise from the escapades at the event space. Murmurings of a survivor who stood bravely against the darkness, passed on from one generation of players to the next. Survivor simply known as Crabman. Yes, this took place in the settlement that was not the Ark campaign settlement. This was the regular settlement. This was the one that was facilitated, I forget exactly when Crabman started, but He lived for quite a long time. I think multiple iterations of him or something like that, but very interesting. Still making adjustments to a design, but I can't wait for Crabman to make a splash with everyone else. So, yep, there's Crabman. Custom gear. These were the things. I think I showed these in my vlog video. So, aside from these going on to the event, we got quite a few comments on the gear holders we created for the purpose of the event space. We originally created these to add a little bit of flair to our presentation, and a resounding question I've heard from everyone coming from the event is, will I be able to get these in the future? For now, I am doing some explorations on adjustment the design and speaking with partners about the possibility of getting these manufactured. Yes, so these are pretty neat, especially because you could fit sleeved cards in there. It's also neat that they showed One Eye. So that sword there is an event-specific sword. That's One Eye. It's a very difficult sword to get. So, truly monstrous armament. This was the giant Kingsman's or Iron Hand sword, the Black Knight sword. So, I did my interviews in front of this, 2 of them. Very interesting, very huge. Lots of pictures being taken of said sword. So, Volunteers of Death. There are the 5 Volunteers of Death. Very nice. Of course, I have to give a special shout out to our wonderful volunteers. Knowing how passionate our community is, I already had high hopes for what it might be like to work with some of our work with our fans, and they managed to absolutely shatter all my exceedingly high expectations. Thank you wholeheartedly for all the tireless work each of you put in the convention to long ensure that space was the best it could be. We could not have done it without you. Finally, so then this is Pariah. Someone made a video on it. I would assume it would be a pretty good video. Pariah. So now let's talk. This is now where the Kickstarter update switches from most of Gen Con stuff to actual news stuff. So this is where I really want to spend some time talking. So I know I kind of breezed through all the other rest of that update pretty quickly, but speaking of Pariah, we've been quietly chipping away at the expansion since returning from Gen Con, and I'm happy to say that we have finished all testing, art assets, and layouts for this expansion at this point. As I write this, we are slated to receive our final edits from our copy editor by the end of this week, upon which we will, that's tomorrow, because he's writing, or I guess it would have been earlier in the week, maybe he wrote this, upon which we will begin conversations with our printers for pre-production. On the plastic side, we were wrapping things up before production as well. The Upside Down Pariah just received a final cape fix-up due to miscommunication. His poor cape was flattened. Upside Down Survivor test shots are also on their way for us to review. So, very neat. Project Transparency, upcoming shipping wave. Even as we prepare to begin the production cycle of this new expansion, I wanted to take a moment to temper expectations for our upcoming shipping wave. With the reality of the ever-lengthening production turnarounds and the challenge of coordinating the schedules of a lot of our manufacturing, logistics, and shipping partners, it has become increasingly difficult to expect a release to move from finished design to fulfillment in a single quarter. As of now, our updated delivery estimate for revamped shipping wave 1 is Q1 2025. No surprise to anyone. So this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Of course our goal is to always get content into your hands, and our current plan is to wrap up the project. Like I said, there's not even done design. So the fact that they can't get it into production really doesn't matter because the design's not done. So of course our goal is to always get the content into your hands, and our current plan is to wrap up productions on the way by starting the printers process this month. This way, we can snatch up production slots as they are opened up and avoid further possible delays. While we are endeavoring to finish everything ASAP, we will not rush and allow our quality to dip. Red Witches. Waiting on me to finish the story events. All artwork is complete. Production of hard plastic miniatures is complete. Screaming God, waiting on me to tweak and finalize the Parasite Queen showdown. All assets pertaining to the Screaming God monster have wrapped testing and are in copy editing stages. We are still missing one piece of story event art and some illustrations for the book. The Parasite Queen and Alpha armor sets are in queue to be tooled. Wanderer Goth Amy, final checks are headed to the printer. Hard plastic is complete. Wanderer Aeneas, awaiting 2 more images and a layout pass. Hard plastic should be finished next week. Wanderer Candy and Cola, artwork complete. Rules waiting for a layout pass. Hard plastic should be finished next week. Wanderer Hyperlight Drifter. Awaiting 3 more images in a layout pass. Hard Plastic should be finished next week. Kingdom Death Sim. So someone did an interview with the guy, Nick. So, let's see. During Gen Con, our lead Dark Architect Nick was able to provide some previews for future plans in the sim, and then someone made a video on that. Gamers Chess Painting Contest. Now with the hustle of Gen Con behind us, the Dark Judges are ready to announce the results of our Gamers Chess Painting Contest. So, here they are. Congratulations to the grand prize winners. Thank you everyone for dedicating to share their work with us. In the near future, we will open our online gallery for this contest. You'll be able to look at through all the unbelievable entries that were submitted to this competition. We will also be sending out an email in the future for everyone that participated. Details how to redeem your store credit prizes. Keep on the lookout for that. So, first place, that's Oystein N. The Gambler. Looks pretty sick. It's a pretty cool Gambler. Second place, I'm probably going to really not pronounce this correctly, so I'm sorry, but it looks like Alexki M? Alexi is probably right. Yeah, Alexi is probably right. Very neat. Twilight Nico Twilight Sword. Or Nico Twilight Nico. Yeah. Alex M, third place. Very cool. Very neat. It's Cockroach Queen. Best Monster, first place, Con M. Very cool. Second place, Drew D. Very cool. This one's really neat because it's a alternate sculpt, like it's a modified sculpt, which is really cool. Open up the hands. Really cool. Third place, Todd M. Best Narrative, first place, Zero. Very cool. Very, was it He-Man vibes. Second place, Serena M, which is the Beast Hunter armor. Very neat. Third place, I forget. People were suggesting. I tried to ask around on the Lander's Reign who this was. I don't want to attribute it to exactly who it was because some people give me different answers. But if it is GHZ, that'd be great. So that again, I can't confirm that, but really cool. The Champion of the Goblin, really neat. Best Armor Kit, Simon S, really cool. Very neat. Maxine B, very cool. Croc Armor. Ben G, Death Armor. Everyone really loves Death Armor. It's really cool. Or Death King Armor, I should say. Best Diorama. Might be the same person. Again, I don't want to confirm who it is, but amazing. This diorama is actually really sick with God Hand. So really cool. Second place, Zach T. Really cool. Another one. This is the it's like Axerman family mixed with Murderer, which is crazy. Such a cool thing. M. Finley, again another king because it was all Game was Chess painting contest, but still very neat king. Community Garden. All right, here we go. We're going to talk about some of this stuff. Can you share a little bit what playtesting and or playtest data looks like? Testing Kingdom Death is a multi-layered affair. We do everything from design gut checks to showdown refinement to campaign testing to closed book testing and a dozen other types of focus tests in between. We have a talented team of different types of testers to simulate different levels of familiarity with the game. However, the largest portion of playtest data is definitely campaign testing. Due to the modularity of the expansions, there's a constant need to check to make sure that every expansion can play properly with everything else. And in a game as interconnected as Kingdom Death, that means running full campaigns to get the complete picture. At this point, we have easily over 1,000 pages of playtest settlement records in our database. I know the original plan was to ship Philosophies of Death with Campaigns of Death, but seeing as to how Campaigns of Death was pushed back to Q1 2025, which it's been pushed back again, would you consider possibly trying to get the Philosophies of Death to ship with the remastered Wave 1, currently slated, again, it's been pushed back, so now it's Q1 2025, or do you not expect to be able to get out this month? This will depend on the production schedules, as well as what makes sense. Right now, I foresee it being fairly easy to separate gatherism from the other philosophies as an a la carte option if there is demand for it. But core philosophies like heliocentrism and starbound are so tied to their respective campaigns, which both receive balanced tune-ups and rules adjustments for better expansion integration in campaigns of death, which is interesting because originally those weren't. It's interesting that you need campaigns of death to use them, right? Because that's how this is being read, because it's tied to their respective, which both receive balanced tune-ups and rules adjustments for better expansion integrations in campaigns of death. So that reads as like the campaigns of death updates are necessary for the new philosophies, which is kind of crazy because originally they were out of the scope for campaigns of death, but now it seems like they're just going to be part of campaigns. Like campaigns of death, what that does to those campaigns will be necessary for the things, which is interesting. And that just makes sense to ship them separately at the same time campaigns of death at the moment. Yeah, because it probably requires them now, it sounds like, where gatherism is just a tier 2 philosophy, so whatever. With the monthly, bi-monthly sales on your websites, can you possibly allow a pre-order on the items that have game content? I get everything that has game content a few times to buy off eBay and then just my last order from the web store. Is it possible? This person's just talking about like the rarity of some things for some shops in certain regions. So I appreciate your passion for our game content. Due to the size of our production team, a lot of your suggestions are unfortunately are not very feasible for us. We just don't have enough hands at the moment to do something like consistent print-to-order products or pre-order subscriptions as much as I want to explore the ideas. However, we love the dedication our fans have for our creations. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you have missed a product you really wanted, reach out to support. I can't promise we'll be able to help every time, but we'll do what we can if we have canceled orders or replacement products we can get into your hands. Is there any update on the Hyperlight Drifter figure? So again, still slated as Remaster Wave 1. Does the Red Witch expansion still come with the 3-year campaign? No. It'll become clear. It became clear very early on in testing that players should not be given gameplay control of such powerful beings in comparison to the regular survivor, at least not within the confines of Kingdom Death Monster. This idea has been replaced with the additional White Speaker story events that have similar purpose of showcasing key parts of Kingdom Death's lore without stepping out of the survivor's perspective. Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, I really wanted the Red Witch campaign. I really enjoyed the King Clenny and Butcher campaign, and the Clenny and Butcher storytelling, and the Black Knight, the included Squire campaign. It was very cool because we were stepping out of the survivor's perspective. Like that was the point. That's what made those cool. Not so much not still playing as survivors, but just stepping out of the like flawed narrator perspective is what made that really cool. So it's kind of a shame that we lost the Red Witches. I had already expected the Red Witches not to have the 3-year campaign since it wasn't being mentioned for a while. But if it was clear very early on, then it should have been mentioned in the Dark Herald. But the Tusk Worker settlement location from Frog Dog expansion has some errors on it. Wrong affinity placements. Is it possible to get the corrected version in the Legendary Update Pack 2? I'll have to consult my team on the errors. Card pack contents are usually reserved for addressing game-breaking bugs and balance adjustments. Cosmetic issues and typos are usually saved for an expansion reprint. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. There's a lot of expansions that have received reprints and still have problems. So, are there any plans to release updated versions of the original core game sets with more narrative style of the recent kits, akin to GCE and later ones? Not ready to answer this one just yet, but keep on the lookout. I think this has already been mentioned that Kingdom Death 2.0 is on the way or whatever. With potential several rulebooks needed for various monsters in a campaign, it's rather unwieldy to play some of the more complicated ones. I appreciate some of the issues will dissipate with COD, but do you have any plans to make this somehow better? For example, re-releasing the rulebooks as large cards, allowing to build a rules deck with a bunch of consistently changing cards. Sounds like it may be more complicated than a couple of books. I agree. But reference cards would be nice. I don't know what you would make of the reference cards, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you would do there. Is it possible to deliver the Campaigns of Death book with gilded edges? That'd be cool. Are the villain, the damsel, the ruler, the fool nothing but cultural references to the old world, or are these reflective of some deeper meaning within Kingdom of Death? They are roles that exist within the Lion Knight performance. Does exist a settlement or survivors that dedicate themselves to hunt watchers or bigger monsters? Most settlements rarely have the chance to exist long enough to make a habit of hunting down core monsters. So does the settlement exist? Yes, the Great Game Hunters. They hunt big monsters. We have currently the 10th year anniversary survivors. We will have the 15th year anniversary survivors, or even further. Will they have weapons from the expansions? Coming up on our 15th anniversary soon, so you'll have to wait and see. The only way to come back once your name is written on the scribe's book. No comment. Which entities are unique? So the scribe is one. The hand is supposed to be unique. Who else is? No comment. When one that has seen the truth gazes at its own reflection, what does it see? What does it feel? I'm not sure this is exactly what you're asking, but it's about whether or not Survivor sees themselves differently after they see the truth. They do. How a Survivor sees themselves differently depends on what conclusions they draw from the event, though. Any chance the next card pack update include an indomitable version of the Death Crown Inheritor Aya cards? Feels like these were... seems like if you made these post-GCE, they would have just been printed as indomitable gear. The game content in Death Crown Inheritor Aya was meant to be a sneak peek for how indomitable resources work. So some of like how the 10th anniversary White Speaker game content was meant to be a sneak peek for knowledge cards. We don't have any plans to change this at the moment. So yeah, they're just kind of a weird thing, because now with indomitable resources, they make really cool indomitable resources. They're kind of wonky to get them consistently as they are now. With regards to Black Knight having CC rewards and set of knowledges, is there any appetite for this to be extended to other existing Nemesis monsters at any point in the future? If potentially on the cards for development, I hope the Butcher, Kingsman, Atlas, and Hand CC rewards and or other knowledges won't be limited to COD. This got me thinking about the Dead Antelope Hunt event card. While assuredly out of scope for COD, would there be any opportunity in the distant future for cross-content hunt events? So CC rewards for other Nemesis monsters are possible. Yes, we have seen that. Anything is possible. It all just depends on what feels right from a design standpoint. Maybe a release dedicated to ARC survivors with a bunch of CC goodies. I'm also excited to work on cross-expansion content. A lot of the design we did on the synergy content and Campaigns of Death is to make sure we can explore how different monsters can mix while accounting for logistics. So we've already seen this. Survivors of Death 1 includes a new CC card, so we've already seen how this might be handled. It's kind of disappointing that I was kind of expecting COD to maybe have those CC rewards for those monsters, but hopefully sometime in the future, it's anything's possible. Would it be possible to come to UK Games Expo or set up a store sometime there? We'd love to. Probably not in the cards. Anyone in the new expansion are any of the new expansions on the printer, or how is the schedule looking for quarter one? I covered this early update. It's delayed. Quarter 1, 2025. Will Campaigns of Death include the gear separators, the black cards with the name of the location, with the size as the base game cards? I don't know. Dividers are generally one of the last things added to a product after we have finalized all things like the box insert. So it'll be hard to give measurements for dividers without these final dimensions. Try to keep things consistent. Hopefully there's some kind of encounter divider cards eventually. We need some way of storing encounters, because we don't have one, and nothing says Bone Eaters, so hopefully we start to get that. Or just, like, we need a Wanderer divider, hopefully, because Luck doesn't have a divider. And then hopefully something's done for Bone Eaters, that'd be great. Which Node 1 to Quarry delicacy would Gourmet Hunter Anna find the most appetizing? Halian Pizza, Gormigan Croc, whatever. Crimson Crocodile. It's a very versatile cooking ingredient. It's a great answer. Crimson Croc is great. So that's the right. Yeah, that was the end of it. That is the end of the Gen Con update, which is great. The community garden here was actually pretty open and forthcoming with delays and stuff, which is really good. This was great. I really love the fact that this one was so open and also answered like a lot of the questions pretty like spot on as to what exactly you would expect to be answered. But Gen Con was great. The post Gen Con sale, a lot of this stuff, all the stuff is now there, except with the exception of Ledla, the Smog Singer IR. It's great to see prints on the website, web shop. That's great. Art prints being for sale is great. So glad to finally see that as well. But that closes out this year for Gen Con for sure now. Closing the book on 2020 for Gen Con. So, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.